The West is under attack, but not how you think it. What if I told you, the very ideologies that claim to liberate society are the same ones tearing it apart? Marxism, queer theory, radical leftist movements, they've reshaped the West, yet strangely, they've left the original communist states untouched. Why is that? Let's dig in. Marxist theory of culture. Marxist theory says society, through its leaders, enforces the status quo. Norms are set, but they're always stacked against the working class. And when the people rise up, the result isn't balance, it's chaos. Riots, class struggles, a belief that someone else is always to blame. This idea of tearing down norms didn't just stay in economics. It later fueled movements of nonconformism, what today we call queer theory. Why the West, not communism? But here's the irony. These radical ideas thrive in the West, not in China, not in Russia, not even in Venezuela. The very countries where Marxism began. Why? Because it was never really about equality. Think about it, no so-called communist state has never built a classless paradise. Hierarchy remains. Wealth is still uneven, always, and history shows us something darker. Leaders in these regimes destroyed traditional structures, religion, elites, community leaders, just to hold power. Take Stalin. In 1932 to 1933, the man-made famine we now call the Holodomor killed about 5 million Ukrainians. At the time, Ukraine had around 29 million people. That's nearly 1 in 6 lives erased. Then there's Mao. His great leap forward between 1958 to 1962 turned into one of the greatest tragedies in history. An estimated 30 to 45 million Chinese died due to famine, riots, starvation. Out of a population of 660 million, that's about 1 in 15 people gone. So if communism kills, how did China and Russia survive? Survival of China and Russia? China survived by bending the rules. Under Deng Xiaoping, it opened the door to capitalism, while keeping the Communist Party in charge. And the West? It fueled China's growth, hoping to alienate Beijing from Moscow due to their differences then. That gamble gave China the economic boost it wanted. Let me digress a bit. In my coming video, I'll talk about Sino-Russia ideological divergence. The Soviet Union? It collapsed under its own weight. Gorbachev's reforms split it apart. But by then, Russia had already grabbed enough tech and power to survive, with China ready to rise. Notice something? China, the biggest backbone of Russia, is capitalism in terms of economy. Neither China nor Russia allowed radical Marxism, or queer theory, to destabilize their societies. Why only the West? The answer is democracy. Democracy gives freedom, freedom to speak, freedom to live, freedom to pursue happiness, as long as it doesn't hurt others. But here's the catch, harm isn't always physical. Sometimes it's subtle, psychological, ideological, and in that gray area, radical ideologies thrive. Multiculturalism, once noble, is now weaponized. Instead of integrating, waves of immigrants demand their own space, their own laws, their own freedoms. The outcome? Rising crime, knife attacks, sexual assaults, religious clashes, even whole regions where immigrants begin to outnumber locals. Informational warfare and guilt politics. This isn't just migration, it's informational warfare. Western nations, weighed down by guilt, colonialism, slavery, past sins, bend over backwards to make it right. Meanwhile, adversaries feed the narratives that weaken Europe and America from within. Elon Musk once said, "A country is its people, not just its geography." Another commentator was sharper. Immigrants who refuse to assimilate, but demand privileges, are not guests. They're conquerors. And today, you even see Westerners themselves holding signs that say, "White people suck." What's next? If sanity is to return, nations need order. Deport those who refuse to integrate. Enforce swift justice. Strengthen the law against public disorder, whether crime, riots, or even religious displays blocking roads. Because society only stands when the law stands above all. In conclusion, while Marxism and queer theory promise liberation, but in the West, they've become tools of division. Meanwhile, communist states remain untouched by the chaos. So I'll leave you with this. What do you think, freedom or survival? Which comes first? Kindly like, share, comment and recommend to help the channel grow and sensitize people. Thanks as you do. Finally, this is Worldview by Charles. Truth, History, and Power.